Meanwhile, in 13 days, Americans living in Ohio will join their counterparts nationwide to commemorate Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving 2020 will be on Thursday, November the 26th. Thanksgiving is the biggest holiday in the country and is usually a moment of celebration with family. Each year, over 50 million people travel to meet and celebrate with their families. This year, it is not clear if that will be the case due to the coronavirus pandemic. Apart from traveling, COVID-19 will impact this year's holiday season in several other ways. Nuwayla Mazrui-Helmrich has been measuring the effects of the pandemic on the 2020 holiday season, and in the following paper, she provides details. Nuwayla.
Thank you, Ernest. This year, in the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, Ohioans have had to contend with postponing, reimagining, or altogether foregoing events that have traditionally brought family and friends together. From graduations and weddings to funerals and memorials, the safety restrictions under which we've lived for the better part of this year because of the coronavirus have made planning travel and family gatherings a near impossible venture. And now the holiday season is fast approaching. In exactly 1 week, as you noted, the single most traveled holiday in American tradition will be upon us. For many, the pandemic has been an extremely stressful and isolating time, so the opportunity to commune with their loved ones may be just too difficult to refuse, a sentiment illustrated by the fact that 80% of Americans say that they will be celebrating Thanksgiving with their families in spite of COVID-19. And as if the situation weren't already grim, we're currently experiencing the highest surge in COVID-19 infections since the beginning of the spread of the coronavirus, setting a new record for the highest number of cases in a day. Franklin and Tuscarawas counties are near a level 4 classification on the Ohio Health Advisory Board system, indicating the most severe exposure and spread, prompting Governor Mike DeWine and the CDC to stress the importance of celebrating the holiday with the lowest spread threshold possible. Just earlier this week, as you noted, Ernest, Governor DeWine introduced new restrictions in response to the surge in COVID infections in the state, announcing a 21-day curfew between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. that goes into effect today, and limiting both indoor and outdoor social gatherings. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, on the other hand, urges the American public to consider canceling the holiday altogether. Additionally, public health experts warn that small gatherings are now considered a growing source of community spread, where previously this was attributed primarily to large public gatherings. So what should Ohioans consider when making this decision for themselves and their families? First, when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important to remember that there is no eliminating risk. There is only reducing it. Experts say begin by assessing the risk level of your own household. Is a member of your household elderly or immunocompromised? Are they sick or considered high risk in any other way? You and your family should also consider some of these pertinent questions to see if there's more that you can do to further mitigate your risk. Can you, for example, have a virtual Thanksgiving this year? As I noted earlier, through the year, we've all had to learn and adapt to socializing virtually in many ways. Can your Thanksgiving dinner be held outdoors? Can it be a very small and quick gathering? One of the most overlooked factors for COVID-19 spread is time. The longer you spend with an infected person, the more likely the virus is to be transmitted. If you have family traveling out of town, can your guests arrive early enough to quarantine beforehand? And finally, is everyone attending on the same page in terms of their commitment to observing COVID prevention measures? Lately, we've seen more and more health officials use the Swiss cheese model to illustrate utilizing different layers of protection to create a stronger barrier against the risk of infection for you and your family. The Swiss cheese model is a basic principle used in risk management and analysis, traditionally used for accident causation, but it can be applied to the management of hazards in any situation, like the coronavirus. Each layer of prevention has holes in it, sort of like a slice of Swiss cheese, meaning it's not foolproof. But if you line up the layers, then each additional layer strengthens the barrier. In this case, the layers represent social distancing, masks, hand hygiene, ventilation, surface cleaning, and so on and so forth. The idea being that the more layers of risk intervention you apply, the more you lower the risk of infection. So whatever you decide, keep in mind that the restrictions we've been observing to combat COVID-19 spread should be applied with even more vigor throughout the holiday season. Whether you're celebrating Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Diwali, or Kwanzaa, keep yourself and your family safe by celebrating these cherished holidays responsibly. It may look different from celebrations in previous years, but doing everything we can to ensure the health and safety of our family and friends is something we can all be thankful for this year. For more information on recommendations regarding this holiday season, visit the Center for Disease Control at cdc.gov, and for updates on COVID-19 developments in Ohio, travel advisories, and public health orders, visit coronavirus.ohio.gov. I'm Nuwayla Mazrui, reporting for APEX1RADIO. Ernest?
Keep yourself and family safe by celebrating these cherished holidays responsibly. Thank you so much, Nuwayla.
Thank you, Ernest.